Hi guys! Welcome sa Engineered Math Channel. Sa video na to ay ituturo ko sa inyo ang inverse of functions. So kung gusto niyo itong matutunan, just keep on watching. Okay, so ngayon ay ituturo ko sa inyo yung inverse of a function. So ano ba yung inverse of a function? From the word itself, inverse, ibig sabihin, i-inverse natin yung domain at range ng isang function. So pagbabaliktarin natin yung magiging range at domain ng inverse function natin. So for example, meron tayong function f dito na set of ordered pairs na 4, 6, 1, 2, negative 2, 0, negative 5, negative 1. So, ito yung original function natin. So, paano kapag hinanap natin yung inverse ng function na to? So, tulad ng sinabi ko, pagbabaliktarin lang natin yung positions ng range at domain. So, di ba ang domain natin dito ay yung mga first number dun sa coordinate natin? Tapos, yung range natin, yung second. So, itong 6, 2, 0, negative 1. So, range. So, pagbabaliktarin natin yung position nila para makuha natin yung inverse. Ang notation natin for inverse of a function ay f raised to negative 1. Okay? Pero hindi ibig sabihin ng f raised to negative 1 ay 1 over f ha. Hindi. Notation lang natin yun for inverse. So, hindi siya equal dito sa 1 over f. So, kapag ginanap natin yung inverse na f raised to negative 1, magiging equal yan saan? So, pagbabaliktarin nga natin yung mga domain at range. So, meron tayong apat na parentheses for apat na ordered pairs. So, ito muna sa first. So, yung 6 saka 4, pagbabalik-tarin natin, gagawin natin 6, 4. Tapos, yung 1, 2, gagawin natin 2, 1. Yung negative 2, 0, gagawin natin 0, negative 2. Tapos, yung negative 5, negative 1, magiging negative 1, negative 5. So, therefore, ito yung inverse nung function natin na with a set of ordered pairs. Now, kapag minap natin siya, so, di ba ito yung original natin, f na function, yung range, yung domain natin ay tama na 4, 1, negative 2, negative 5. So, 4, 1, negative 2, negative 5. Tapos, yung range natin, 1 to 1 lang sila. So, ito yung 6, 2, 0, negative 1. So, 6, 2, 0, negative 1. Sorry, negative 1. So, mapping lang. So, 1 to 1 sila. So tapat-tapat lang sila. Okay? Now, nung binalitag na natin yung domain at range, so nagkaroon na tayo ng inverse nga na f of negative 1. So, therefore, ito na yung magiging range natin. Tapos, ito yung magiging domain. Okay? So, parang yung arrow, naging paganito na, paturo dito. Okay? So, ganun yung concept ng inverse of a function. Babaliktaran mo yung range at domain nung function. Ngayon, paano naman kung meron tayong given equation ng function? Let's say, f of x is equal to 2x plus 1. So, hindi natin pwedeng ma-apply yung pagbabaliktarin lang natin yung mga ordered pairs kasi wala naman tayong list of ordered pairs unless i-list natin. Pero mahaba yung process na yon, so hindi natin ginagawa yon. Dapat hanapin natin yung inverse ng function according to equation din, which is denoted by f of negative 1 of x. So, sulat din dun sa dito sa example ko na f raised to negative 1 yung notation. Okay? So, ngayon tuturo ko sa inyo yung steps kung paano maghanap ng inverse of a function. So, ito yung mga steps to find the inverse of a function. So, 1. Replace f of x with y. 2. Interchange x and y. 3. Solve for the new y from the equation in step 2. 4. Replace the new y with inverse function notation. Okay, so para ma-illustrate yung mga steps, mag-solve tayo ng actual example. So, find the inverse of the function given by f of x is equal to y is equal to the set of ordered pairs 3, 2, negative 3, negative 1, negative 6, 3, 6, negative 1. So, parang ito yung in-illustrate ko dun sa umpisa. So, papalitan lang natin yung domain at range ng mga ordered pairs. Pagbabalik na rin natin. So, we have inverse of the function is equal to the set of ordered pairs. So, itong 3, negative 2 magiging 2, 3. Itong negative 3, negative 1 magiging negative 1, negative 3. Itong negative 6, 3, pagbabalik na rin natin magiging 3, negative 6. And then itong 6, negative 1, magiging negative 1, 6. So, ito yung inverse ng function natin, given the set of ordered pairs. Okay? Next, find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to 3x plus 6. Okay, so this time, equation na yung given natin. So, apply natin yung steps na tinuro ko sa inyo kanina. So, sabi, susulat ko muna, f of x is equal to 3x plus 6. So, sabi, palitan daw natin yung f of x ng y. So, gawin natin y is equal to 3x plus 6. Tapos, pagbalik na rin natin yung position ng x sa y dito sa equation. So, therefore, magiging x is equal to 3y plus 6. So, pinagbaliktad natin yung x sa y. Ngayon, isolve daw natin yung bagong y, yung bagong equation for y in terms of x explicitly. So, parang lang dun sa ginawa natin dun sa video ko in finding the domain of a function. Isosolve natin yung y explicitly in terms of x. So, parang y lang yung nasa left side and then function of x or in terms of x lang yung nandun sa right side. So, paano natin gagawin yon? So, transpose natin itong si 3y sa left side, so magiging negative 3y is equal to, and itong si x sa right side, magiging negative x plus yung natirang 6. And then divide natin both sides by negative 3, para y lang yung nasa left side, so cancel si negative 3, we have y is equal to negative x plus 6 over negative 3. Or pwede natin i-distribute yung negative 3, magiging negative x over negative 3 is positive, x over 3, tapos, plus, 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. So, therefore, ito na yung y in terms of x. Ngayon, last step, gawin lang natin itong y as inverse function notation. So, f raised to negative 1 of x is equal to x over 3 minus 2. So, therefore, ito na yung inverse ng function natin. X over 3 minus 2. Okay, next we have find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to x plus 1 over x minus 1. Okay, so sunod pa rin natin yung steps. So sulat ko muna, f of x is equal to x plus 1 over x minus 1. Sa gawin natin y itong f of x, so y is equal to x plus 1 over x minus 1. Then, pagbalik na rin natin yung positions ng x at y. So magiging x is equal to y plus 1 over y minus 1. Tapos, solve natin ngayon yung y explicitly in terms of x. So multiply natin both sides ng equation by y minus 1 para makancel yung denominator. So, therefore, we have x times y minus 1 is equal to, cancel sa right side yung y minus 1, magiging y plus 1. Distribute natin si x. So, xy minus x is equal to y plus 1. Then, pagsamahan natin sa left side yung may mga y. So, transpose natin si y, tapos itong si negative x, transpose natin dito. So, parang xy minus y is equal to 1 plus x. So, factor out natin tong y, magiging y times x minus 1 is equal to 1 plus x or x plus 1 na lang. Tapos, divide natin both sides by x minus 1 para ma-solve natin si y. So, cancel. Y is equal to x plus 1 over x minus 1. So, therefore, ito na yung nasolve nating y explicitly in terms of x. So, palitan na lang natin yung y as a inverse notation. So, parang f raised to negative 1 of x is equal to x plus 1 over x minus 1. So, ito yung inverse ng function natin. So, ang mapapansin nyo, pareho sila, di ba? Hindi nagbago. So, yung inverse ng function na f of x na x plus 1 over x minus 1 ay yun ding sarili niya. Okay? Okay, next we have find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to x cubed plus 1. Okay, so sulat ko muna, f of x is equal to x cubed plus 1. So, yung f of x, gawin nating y. So, we have y is equal to x cubed plus 1. And then, interchange natin yung x sa y. So, para x is equal to y cubed plus 1. Ngayon, solve natin yung y explicitly in terms of x. So, transpose natin na lang dito si positive 1. So, magiging negative 1 siya. Tapos, iwan natin si y sa right side. So, parang x minus 1 is equal to y cubed. Or, simply, y cubed is equal to x minus 1. Pinagbaliktad ko lang. Tapos, para makancel natin yung exponent na 3 ni y, erase natin both sides of the equation by 1/3. So, cancel. We have y is equal to x minus 1 quantity raised to 1/3 or simply cube root of x minus 1, right? So therefore, ito na yung inverse ng function natin, or in inverse function notation, we have f raised to negative 1 of x is equal to cube root of x minus 1. Okay? Okay, next, pumunta naman tayo sa verifying inverse functions. So halimbawa, meron tayong dalawang given functions, f of x at g of x, at gusto nating malaman kung inverse ba sila sa isa't isa. So, paano ba natin malalaman kung inverse ba yung dalawang function? So, let's have some definition. So, 1, the inverse of a function f is the set of all ordered pairs of the form b, a, where a, b is an element of f. So, di ba yun na nga yung concept ng inverse function? So, kapag meron ka raw function f na merong element na a, b, therefore, yung inverse ng function na yun, dapat meron ding element na opposite ng coordinate, which is magiging b, a, kasi pinagbaliktad natin yung range sa domain. Okay? Then 2, the two functions f and g are inverse of each other if f of g of x is equal to x for every x in the domain of g, and g of f of x is equal to x for every x in the domain of f. That is, f of g of x is equal to g of f of x is equal to x, or if g of x is equal to inverse f of x, then f of inverse f of x is equal to inverse of f of x equals x. So, medyo nakakalito. Pero ganito lang yun. Kapag meron ka raw f and g functions, tapos kapag kinuha mo yung composite function nila sa isa't isa, either f of g, f circle g, or f of g of x, or g circle f, or g of f of x, dapat equal yun sa x para masabi na inverse sila sa isa't isa. Okay? So, para ma-illustrate, let's have some examples. So, show that the following functions are inverses of each other. So, we have f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 1, and g of x is equal to square root of x minus 1 over 2. So, apply natin yung composite functions. Dapat yung composite function f circle g or f of g of x ay dapat equal sa x, as well as yung g of f of x or g circle f of x is equal din sa x. So, duman tayo sa f of g of x. So, therefore, i-evaluate natin itong f at g of x base dun sa video ko about evaluation and operations of functions. I-discuss ko dun yung composition of functions, right? So, substitute natin ngayon yung g of x doon sa x ng f of x. So, we have 2 times g of x squared plus 1. And then, substitute natin yung representation natin nung g of x in terms of x, which is yung square root of x minus 1 over 2. So, 2 times square root of x minus 1 over 2 quantity squared plus 1. So, we have 2 times, parang makakancel yung radical. So, magiging x minus 1 na lang over 2 plus 1. Then, simplify. Cancel si 2, magiging x minus 1 plus 1. X minus 1 plus 1 is cancel si 1, x na lang. So, therefore, tama na yung f of g of x or yung composite function f circle g ay equal sa x. Now, try naman natin yung g of f of x. So, g of f of x. So, i-evaluate naman natin yung g of x sa f of x. So, substitute natin yung f of x doon sa x ng g of x. So, we have square root of x. So, palitan natin yun ng f of x minus 1 over 2. Okay? Then, ano ba yung value ng f of x in terms of x? Yung 2x squared plus 1. So, substitute natin dito. So, 2x squared plus 1 minus 1 over 2. Simplify. So, square root of, cancel natin dito si plus saka minus 1. So, 2x squared na lang over 2. And then, makakancel ulit si 2. Parang square root of x squared na lang. And then, square root of x squared is simply x. So, therefore, na-prove natin na yung g of f of x is equal to x. So, therefore, tama na tong dalawang function f of x at g of x are inverse of each other. Now, another way para ma-verify na yung dalawang functions ay inverse of each other ay through their graphs. So, kapag ginrap natin yung f of x, which is itong graph na to, tapos yung g of x, which is itong graph na to na blue, kapag pinlat natin sila sa rectangular coordinate system or ginap natin sila at nakita natin na symmetrical sila doon sa line na y equals x. So, ito yung line na yon. Mapaprove natin na yung dalawang functions ay inverse of each other. So, kung mapapansin nyo, symmetrical sila dito sa y is equal to x. So, same yung distance nila dito sa line na to. Okay? Parang mirror sila dito. So, therefore, na-prove natin through graph na itong f of x at g of x ay inverse of each other din. Next, we have given f of x is equal to x plus 2 and g of x is equal to 3x minus 2, find A. G inverse circle f inverse of x, B. F inverse circle g inverse of 4, and C. F circle g inverse. So, let's start with A muna. So, kailangan muna natin hanapin yung g inverse. So, ano ba yung g inverse? So, di ba yung g of x natin ay 3x minus 2. So, gawin natin tong y, then 3x minus 2. Interchange natin yung y tsaka x, so magiging x is equal to 3y minus 2. And then, solve natin for y. So, x plus 2, transpose si 2, then equals 3y. Divide both sides by 3. So, therefore, y is equal to x plus 2 over 3. So, therefore, ito yung g inverse of x. So, x plus 2 over 3. Now, hanapin naman natin yung f inverse of x. So, di ba yung f of x natin ay x plus 2? So, gawin natin y is equal to x plus 2. Interchange natin yung x and y. We have x is equal to y plus 2. And then, solve natin for y. Nagiging x minus 2 transpose si 2 equals y. So, therefore, ito na yung f inverse of x natin, which is equal to x minus 2. Okay, so, ang pinapahanap sa A, yung composite function nung inverse ng g tsaka f. So, evaluate natin yung g of negative 1 of f of negative 1 of x. So, substitute natin yung inverse f doon sa x nung g inverse natin. So, ito yun, diba? X minus 2. So, x minus 2 plus 2 over 3. So, sinabstitute ko itong f inverse dito sa x nung g inverse. Then, simplify natin. We have cancel x over 3. So, therefore, the answer for A is x over 3. Okay? Next, we have B. F inverse circle G inverse of 4. So, this time, magkakaroon tayo ng value kasi in-evaluate natin yung composite function sa 4. So, di ba ito na yung nakuha nating F inverse saka G inverse? This time, hanapin natin ay F inverse of G inverse of X. So, substitute natin yung G inverse dun sa mga x's nung F inverse. So, ano ba yung G inverse? X plus 2 over 3. Substitute natin dito sa x nung f inverse. So, we have x plus 2 over 3 minus 2. Kasi yun yung f inverse, di ba? Therefore, we have x plus 2 over 3 minus 2. So, simplify natin as one fraction. So, LCD is 3. Ito parang over 1. So, we have 3 divided by 3 is 1 times x plus 2 is x plus 2. Minus 3 divided by 1 is 3 times 2 is 6. So, we have x plus 2 minus 6 is x minus 4 over 3. So, therefore, ito yung f inverse of g inverse of x. Ngayon, gusto natin i-evaluate siya sa 4, diba? So, substitute natin yung 4 sa mga x's dito sa nabuo nating function. So, we have 4 minus 4 over 3. So, 4 minus 4 is 0 over 3, which is equal to 0. So, therefore, the answer pala is 0. Okay? Next, we have C. F circle G inverse. So, hanapin muna natin yung composite function f of g of x, saka natin yung inverse. So, we have f of g of x is equal to, yung g of x natin ay 3x minus 2. So, isa-substitute natin tong 3x minus 2 dun sa x ng f of x. So, we have x plus 2 yung f of x, diba? So, we have 3x minus 2 plus 2. So, x plus 2 kasi yung f of x natin. So, we have 3x minus 2 plus 2. So, cancel si negative 2 tsaka positive 2. Matitira ay 3x. Ngayon, i-inverse natin tong f of g of x. So, equate natin to sa y. And then, we have y is equal to 3x. Now, interchange natin yung y at x. So, we have x is equal to 3y. And then, solve natin for y. Divide natin both sides by 3. So, therefore, y is equal to x over 3. Which is, ito yung inverse na hinanap natin. Equal na to sa f circle g inverse of x. Okay? So, I think that's it for this topic, inverse of function. So, ganun lang yung concept ng inverse function. Basically, babaliktarin nyo lang yung positions nung domain at range ng function. And then, sundin nyo lang yung steps ko kapag given naman yung equation. That is kung given yung ordered pairs. Kapag given naman ay equation at hahanapin natin yung inverse, sundin nyo lang yung step na ginawa ko at practice lang kayong mag-solve para mas masanay kayo. Okay? So, that's it for this topic. So, sana ay may natutunan kayo sa video na to at maraming salamat sa panonood.